So it appears that the Tulare County District Attorney's Office has now backed down after they actually went and read the law and what Judge Benitez said. So I'm going to go ahead and link down below in the comment section and also in the details section a link to this letter from the Tulare County District Attorney's Office to the defense counsel for Mr. Phan Yang. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. A lot of people said that his name is pronounced Phan Yang. I'm assuming that's how he says his name. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. But this letter was sent from the district attorney's office to his defense counsel's office. And I'll go ahead and just read to you real quick what exactly this says. It says, "Dear sir, please let this letter serve to inform you that the office of the district attorney will not be filing a criminal information in People v. Phan Yang, Tulare County Superior Court case number yada yada yada, currently set for arraignment on June 25th, 2020. After every preliminary hearing, there is a case review either by myself or Chief Deputy or one of the assistant district attorneys. Upon being made aware of this case after the preliminary hearing, I do recognize that the Honorable Judge Roger T. Benitez order of March 29, 2019 in the United States District Court, Southern District of California, case number yada yada yada, enjoining enforcement of the California Penal Code section 32310, and his decision a week later to bar further sales of high-capacity magazines until the United States Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals considers whether to allow the enforcement of Penal Code Section 32310, created the scenario commonly referred to as Freedom Week. Freedom Week generally refers to the week in time between his two orders. When questioned, Mr. Yang responded that he purchased his magazine during Freedom Week in a private transaction between unknown individuals. Mr. Yang stated he did not have any proof of purchase, text messages, social media messages, or contact information from anyone from whom he claimed to have purchased the magazines. After reviewing the evidence in this case and discussing it with the district attorney, the office of the district attorney has elected to not file an information against Mr. Yang in this case at this time. So what exactly does this mean? What does it mean that the Tulare County District Attorney is not going to be filing the information against Mr. Yang? All this really means is it is a procedural thing, but it does have significance. Essentially what it means is that they are ultimately going to have this case dismissed because they are not going to meet one of the procedural requirements that they have to fulfill to keep the case going. So after reviewing the case and what Judge Benitez actually says, I guess they've come to the determination that we all had, is that this case has no merit and they are deciding not to meet the procedural requirements, and therefore this case will be dismissed if they do not file that information by the arraignment date that is set. If they do not file the information, essentially the case will be dismissed by the judge and has to be dismissed by the judge. So therefore, although he was in possession of the Freedom Week magazines, and although they tried to charge him with the importation and manufacturing felony charge of Penal Code 32310, they have now understood that they cannot do that under the ruling by Judge Benitez. What I find interesting about this is that even though Mr. Yang said that he bought it through a private transaction, but he had no proof of anything, he didn't have proof of the purchase, he didn't have text messages, social media messages, any contact information. Even though he had no authority, the Tulare County District Attorney's Office was still too afraid to go ahead and proceed with this action, which really shows you the authority that Judge Benitez's ruling has. And this kind of signals, even contrary to something that I believe, that maybe you should have some receipts or some evidence of your purchase. The ruling as it stands by Judge Benitez might have enough authority to scare away district attorney's offices like Tulare County, even though you don't have proof of a private party transaction. Mr. Yang here just said that he purchased it through a private party transaction, but presented no proof of that, made no statement about proof or anything like that. No proof was shown to the district attorney's office to that effect. And still, despite that, they're deciding not to proceed with it, which is great news. They shouldn't proceed with it. And the burden of proof is really on the district attorney's office regardless. You don't have the burden of having to prove evidence here in the state on a specific issue like this. The burden is on the prosecutor. So I just wanted to update you guys on what exactly was going on in this case. I know I put out a video earlier and a lot of you showed a lot of interest in this, especially because it revolves around Freedom Week and Freedom Week magazines. And a lot of us have purchased those during those times, and we're very curious about what exactly a court or a prosecutor will try to do, even despite what Judge Benitez said. So here we've actually seen a district attorney's office back down after they finally went ahead and read the law as it is. If you found this video helpful and you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is to join the Patreon page, and I'll put a link down to the Patreon in the details. Another way to support the channel and another way to benefit yourself is joining USCCA and I'll go ahead and pin a comment down below to USCCA. So as always, thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and never forget, a nation that draws a great distinction between its scholars and its warriors will have its laws run by cowards and its wars fought by fools.